So we have more than 100 participants right now, so I think we can start with this new Q&A session. Just a couple of housekeeping notes. So as you know, this session is going to be recorded and we will make it available in our YouTube channel and also on the event web page. As always, we are using a Slido. You can ask your questions and also upvote the different questions. So we will be replying to them. As you know, the interaction via Slido is voluntary. You can remain anonymous if you want, but if you choose to use a Slido, you are giving your consent to process the personal data as it is explained in our data privacy statement for Slido. Just for you to know the upcoming events, we have planned different Q&A clinics for August, September, October, November, and December. The links are already available, so you can register and include the appointment if in your calendars. The next system demo is going to happen on the 17th of September. And then we have scheduled some webinars for the product UI and the API on the 6th of September and also on the 6th of October and the 16th of October. We are planning to give you a bit of information on how the bulk update is working, give you a bit of a training on how it can be used, and also for the PMS API. And then we have the 8th of October, the Sport and XBMPD status update webinars that are planned every quarter. For today's session, we have this QR code for Slido, but you can also use the hashtag PMSQA2207. And I think that is the last slide that I have. So, Greta, I think you will share the slide so we can start replying to all the questions that you will be asking. So you are muted, Greta, but I can see the questions and I can start already answering the first one. So the first one is, please clarify when we are expected to start submitting the data carrier via the service now tickets for caps. So we need to update chapter 3 for this information because we are having an issue with the enrichment of the caps for the data carrier identifiers. So most likely we will not be requesting this information for the moment. We still need to do a bit of analysis on this. But again, for NAPs, it will remain the same. You will be able to do it through the user interface. But for CAPs, this activity might be postponed, but we will let you know as soon as we have more information about this topic. Then, is there a deadline for the split of pack sizes for the non-union list of critical medicines in XBMPD, where they are more than one MA number per product? As done in the union list of critical medicines. So in theory, we explained that this should be done by the end of next year. The focus is now on the union list of critical medicines. It should have been done by May this year. And then we have always explained that you should do this for the rest of your products by the end of next year. For the moment, this still remains the same. The guidance that you can use is the same as for the one on the union list of critical medicines. In chapter 3.2 of XBMPD, it is explained how this activity should be done. And there was also a webinar for the submission of packages. Maybe we can try to fish the link and put it here in the answer to this question. So yeah, for the moment, we are keeping the deadline as end of next year. My proposal, though, for this would be, okay, if you have time and resources, you can submit this data for products that are not impacted by the union list of critical medicines. But for new products where you get the authorization now, you can start already submitting all the packages. So this is something that you will not need to do in the future. It's already done from now. So that would be like a best practice for new authorizations.
I can
Okay.
read it for you if you want.
Okay.
And Annex 3 doesn't include LOC ID or org ID for EMA and non-EU organization. Will this be shared later in a separate document? Also, how should we handle data for FDA-approved sites?
I can take this question. So, colleagues, for the EMA, actually, we can include it, but it's usually by default available because it's coming from SciMed, which is our internal database. So you should not be responsible for submitting that, but I can have a look anyway. The non-EU organization is not possible because we cannot contact all the global organization around the world. So this is just limited to the European ones because this activity was kindly handled by our network product owner and it was at European level feasible. But as you may understand, at global level, it's not really possible to do so. So I can have a look for the FDA, but really we might discuss offline this point. But for the moment, what you can see is what has been publicly it has been published on the PMS webpage, and those are the all loc IDs that the health authorities has expressed their willingness to use for the data submission purposes.
Thank you, Veronica. Other than structured pack size data, manufacturers MBOs, which fields will be the next and when?
Well, we don't know for the moment. So we have requested the enrichment because there are different use cases like ESMP and ASU that are using this data. We also asked you, for example, to submit the pending products when you have the pending status at national level for MRPs and DCPs. We have asked you to submit the homeopathics and the herbals if you need them in the AF. So we are asking you to enrich products as soon as we have a use case that someone or some processes need this data. For the moment, we don't have any other requirements from any other group, and that's why we are not. We don't expect any enrichment for the moment, but this might change if in the future there is any other requirement. So we cannot provide this information because, there is no additional use case right now. So we ask you to focus on this information. But as soon as there is any other use case, we will let you know. We will give you also the usual time that we give you, like 6 months or a year to provide this data. But yeah, as I said, for the moment, we don't expect any future enrichments. At least for this year, we don't have any requirement.
Thank you. In the recently released PMS data metric cross platforms, EAF shows yes for medical device data. Since this isn't sourced from any database per Chapter 7, will we get edit access to populate this field in PMS PUI?
So as Marcos mentioned, the edit functionality for the moment is linked to a specific set of data. So the future, of course, is the target goal is to open the whole PMS data model for you to be to submit the relevant authorized products data. But for the moment, this is not in the plan. Just a clarification, the cross-platform file that we have just recently released, yes, it contains this information saying yes, that's the medical device is marked as yes. It means that the data model from PMS that we have been developed has been is aligned. Actually, the EAF is totally aligned with the PMS data model. So you see yes, but it doesn't mean that you can see the data. It means that in future, once the electronic application project will start opening the initial marketing authorization application and other variation forms, the information on this medical device will be possible to be retrieved and updated as per regulatory activities. It means that the technicality behind is there, the data model is there, it's just that the functionality is not available. Just to clarify to everybody. Thanks.
Thank you. As per the EU IG Chapters 2.8 and Annex to Chapter 8, shelf life should reflect the top-level packaging. How should this be handled when separate shelf life exists for the solvent and powder, given no example is provided in the guidance?
I
Um,
need to, yeah, Marcus, maybe
Yeah, no,
I
I
need
was
to
saying,
open chapter two.
yes, me too. I need to have a look at the document, but I think the shelf life is repeatable, so you can include multiple shelf lives at the top level packaging, but we would need a bit of time to review the documentation. So maybe we can reply later to this
I
question.
confirm it's
Yeah.
repeatable.
Okay.
So yes, you can enter as many shelf life as you need as long as you select the right RMS term. So and the time period and units. So yeah.
Thank you. 1 MP, two different pack sizes, 5 vials and 10 vials. The 5 vials pack is authorized in 1965, whilst the 10 vials pack in 2010. We have the same manufacturer, but two different start dates. How to manage the different start dates?
But so in this case, you should keep the first authorization date because it's when the manufacturer was authorized to be part of the to manufacture for the specific medicinal product. It doesn't matter if you then add a different pack size, like 50 years later or so. That really doesn't matter. The manufacturer was actually approved at the beginning. So just the first, if you know the first start date of the manufacturer, then this is the one that you need to put.
Perfect, thank you. When is Chapter 3 expected to be updated to include the reintroduction of the high-level terms for MBO's enrichment and the PMS?
Yeah, so this one we are depending on the EAF still to make some changes on the well the way they are working and consuming the data from RMS. So until we don't have this this dependency solved, we will not be able to update chapter 3 and also PMS, because if we update PMS, then there will be a problem with EAF, and we want to avoid having those issues. So as soon as we have the confirmation from the EAF side, we will update all the documents and also PMS. We know it's a bit unfortunate, but we really need to wait for EAF to solve the dependency that we have.
Thank you.
Hopefully, so also it will be done this quarter for sure. The problem is we don't know yet when this is going to happen.
When do you expect it to be possible to submit the IDMP submission, and will be there a transition phase?
Okay, so as we have explained in the PMS Info Day, in order to start only submitting to PMS, we need to decommission XCVMPD. And as explained, the proposal is that there will not be a transition phase. So we will just stop XCVMPD submissions at a given point in time, and therefore all the submissions will be done in PMS. Now, by when, we are still analyzing this. We are doing the analysis of all the activities that are needed to be done before we are able to decommission XCVMPD. That takes time because the commission in such a system is not easy. There are a lot of consuming systems from XCVMPD that we need to move to PMS. And this is what we are doing now. Like internally, we are discussing all the steps. So as soon as we have more information, we will be able to provide like, okay, a more estimate timeline that when XCVMPD will be decommissioned. But for the moment, processes stay as they are. Submissions to XCVMPD are still mandatory, and you need to maintain the data in this system.
Thank you. A substance SVG1 chloramine is now listed as SVG 0 in the latest SMS release. Is it therefore possible that all substances currently marked as SVG1 could be reclassified as SVG 0 in future updates?
To be honest, I don't know. We need to check with Pedro, so the SMS business lead, to see if that is something that could happen. Yeah, I don't know, Veronica, if you have any comment, but I don't know. We need to check with Pedro.
No, I'm passing this question to Pedro offline and then
Okay. Yeah.
clarifies.
Correct. We saw duplicate full name records in some PMS IDs. FAQ document says duplicates of ROA, ATC, etc. as known issues, but not full name. So please confirm if duplicate full name entries is also known issues or ticket needs to correct it.
So here, I don't know if you mean that the name is duplicated inside the same PMS product, or that you have two products with the same full name. So if it's two different products, then most likely it's a problem from XCVMPD that you might have the strength or something different between the EV codes, and therefore you have two different PMS IDs. If it's the name inside the same product, then you might need to open a ticket, because full names in theory should not be duplicated. It's only on the root of administration or ATC codes. So yeah, I hope that clarifies the question.
Thank you. When is the deadline to review PMS entries?
There is no deadline. So yeah, we've never asked or we've never provided a deadline saying, yeah, you need to have reviewed all the products by a given day. Also because we know that there are some issues, and we first need to solve all the issues or the bugs that we have in order to allow you to a proper review. So it's good that you are raising tickets saying, hey, I have an issue with this product or something. Also taking into account the known issues that we have that are in the PMS Q&A document that is inside the PLM portal. What we are doing this quarter is trying to close all those bugs, like duplicated products, the products that were not visible because the authorized dose form was missing. We are trying to solve all the data quality issues that we have. So we have a stable database, and then you can review those products properly. So all the products will be available with all the pack sizes, without duplicated root of administrations and things like that. So once everything is solved, you can really go and say, okay, now this is really a problem because all the other bugs were solved. So there is no deadline, and I doubt that there will be a deadline. It's more like, oh, I'm going to use, for example, this product for the EAF. Let's review it. And also it's good that you are also reviewing them without the need to use the products on other applications. But for the moment, there is no deadline for this activity.
Thank you. As per FAQ document, if diff EV codes have different authorization status, G valid and valid transfer, then as per sequence, valid status should be updated in product level, but in some IDs, valid transfer is updated. Is this issue ticket needed for it?
No. So yeah, that we should check what is if you have all the packages with valid transfer, or still you have one with valid, and then the authorization status as product level has changed to valid transfer. You can open maybe a ticket so we can have a look, because that that business rule is working properly. So I would recommend you first check, okay, all my packages have the same authorization status or not, and then if one is valid and the other ones are valid transfer, then we need to check the business logic behind.
Thank you. Please confirm if all the MBOs listed on Annex 2 of EU IG Chapter 3, if present in our CMC modules, are required to be enriched for non-CAPS critical.
MBO listed under Annex 2. Yes, so in principle, yes, because the list that we have in Annex 2 is the most granular list for the MBOs that we have. So if they are capturing your module 3, then you can submit this data. I think maybe you have seen another question like when are we going to add the first level values of the MBO list? Because some companies for some products, if the product is very old, it's a legacy product, they don't have the information on the most granular values. They only have the first level values. But in principle, yes, if you have the information in this granularity that is stated in Annex 2, then this is the information that you need to provide.
Thank you. In Annex 3 of Chapter 2, there are not all the lock ID for all HAs. What have you planned to do? For example, medicines and healthcare products regulatory agency UK or Generalitat de Catalunya, Spain?
So as far as I know we have data here, all the health authorities' locks ID have been reported. Just a couple have been removed, but that's because they're not part of they're not involved in the authorization of the medicines. And these are the Netherlands Central Committee of Research involving human subjects and Poland Chief Pharmaceutical Inspectorate. The others that you mentioned, I need to cross-check, but I don't know, maybe Dino, if you're in line, maybe you have any answer. UK, I don't think is going to be considered.
Well, Annex 3 was meant really to include only the regulators, the regulatory authorities. We haven't looked at other regulatory agencies that take this responsibility for certificate issuance, for certificate confirmation. So we know in Germany, we have stated that the lock IDs for BfArM Pi, but this is not sufficient. We do have our Länderbehörden that would take responsibility and would need to enter here. But on purpose, we have decided not to include all of these. Yeah, this is limited really to the regulatory agencies for the moment. To extend the list, to include further lock IDs or further organizations where several lock IDs include that have responsibility in relation to the manufacturers and MBO, this would really be a larger activity we not envisage for the moment.
Yeah, so maybe I can add here. So as Dino said, we are focusing on the main regulatory agencies in Europe because we can contact them and tell them, hey, please give us the loc IDs to include in this annex. Then if there are secondary agencies or other agencies that are not the main ones, and also outside EU, we are not able to perform this exercise because, first of all, we don't have the control of all the agencies that are allowed to approve the manufacturers or MBOs. So my suggestion would be I think UK we can do it, but for example, this one, the Generalitat de Catalunya, I think you should be contacting them in case you don't know which is the correct loc ID. But I would say that MA holders should be able to have which is the address of those agencies, and they should be able to find them in OMS. And if they have any question on, okay, which is your specific loc ID for this specific agency, my suggestion would be contact them and ask them for this information.
MNF operation start date is that when the MNF is approved, included in the terms of the MA of the MP. For DCP, MRP, is it this the date of the EOP or national MA approval?
Yeah, it's the date when the manufacturer was approved, not the end of procedure. I think it is explained in chapter 2. Yeah, maybe we can come back also, but I think it's explained in chapter 2 with the specific date. And actually, there is like a whole explanation on what this operational start date means.
So I have that open. It says that the manufacturing operation start date is if the operation requires a regulatory approval, it refers to the date of the finalization of the applicable regulatory procedure. So in this case, but if it doesn't require any approval, so an evaluation or an investigation, then it corresponds to the date of the implementation of this change in your system. So those are the differences. Depends which kind of type of authorization you are implementing, you are updating in PMS.
Thank you. Please, can you clarify what you mean by legacy products referred to MBOs?
Yeah, so when we talk about legacy products, we mean old products that were approved time ago, and people might not have the whole information on when a manufacturer was approved or when a specific manufacturing business operation was not approved. This is what we consider a legacy product, like or products that were authorized some time ago. So that's why for these legacy products, we will be allowing MA holders to submit the high-level term of the MBOs. I don't have the list open now, but sometimes you have manufacturer responsible for I don't know, sterilization, and then you have it's a more granular terms that are sterilization by heat or sterilization by filtering. So legacy products might not have this information on which is specific MBO. If it's by filtration, by heat, etc., they only have the information about this manufacturer is responsible for the sterilization. So we will allow for those products, old products or products that were authorized a long time ago, to provide the high-level terms in PMS. For new products, so products that are authorized now, you should have this information because you need to provide this information within the AF and in your dossier. So yeah, that's the difference between legacy products and new products.
Thank you, Marcus. For CAPS values migrated to Simon to backsize PMS seem non-compliant with the expected RMS unit of presentation list. For example, pre-filled pen, not RMS term, only pen expected approval versus singular terms, tablets, vials, review challenges.
We need to have a look at this because I'm not sure for example, the plurals, I think we don't have this.
I know that we have mapped between XBMPD and RMS, but the plurals usually is not considered on the list.
Yeah, I need to have a look at some of those products and check it. But yeah, I think maybe we're also talking about different fields because I'm actually checking one of the products. So yeah, I'm seeing a product is tablet, is syringe. So maybe you need to open a ticket. Also, there is a difference between the package description, that is free text field, and there you have one pre-filled syringe, and there you also have tablets, but then in the package size where you are supposed to have like a value and a unit of presentation, there is only syringe and there is only tablet, not plural. So please make sure we are referring to the same value. So the package description is free text, and there you can have pre-filled pen, you can have everything, tablets or vials. Then on the structured data, so the packet size, that is coming from RMS, and there you only have tablet or pen or syringe. So have a look. If you see discrepancies, you can open a ticket.
Thank you. Okay. I think this one is referring to an old question. Sorry, a question was meant this way. What can I consider an old product authorized before which date?
No, we don't have a date. So we know that some time ago, I don't even have the dates, EAF where, so EAF has evolved with the time. Also, how the dossiers were submitted have evolved. And therefore, the data that is available and that MA holders have might be different from products authorized 10 years ago or 30 years ago and products that are authorized like 2-3 years ago or even 5 years ago. So we don't say, oh, those products authorized before 1990 are old or legacy products. We don't have this concept. For us, yeah, so it's only on your side if you have the data available, because at the point where this product was authorized, the data was submitted in one way or the other. But we don't say, yeah, products from this date on are new and before they are legacy. We don't have this concept.
Thank you. There are differences in the way products are displayed when application must be submitted via EIF compared to products listed in XBMPD. If the use of EIF becomes mandatory starting early next year, what steps should be taken?
So here you need to first check PMS. So when you submit products in XBMPD, you just submit EV codes. When we migrate products from XBMPD to PMS, some of those EV codes might be merged because they belong to the same medicinal product. They are packages of the same medicinal product, and therefore in PMS they are merged. All this is explained in Chapter 7 of the EUIG, and also then in Chapter 9 for the maintenance. So that's why there is a difference. Now, if there is an issue and the EV codes that we have merged don't belong to the same medicinal product, then you need to raise a ticket and say, hey, that is wrong. This migration has been done in an incorrect way. You should also check that the records in XMPD have the same information. So there are a couple of business rules in Chapter 7. But of course, there is a difference between XMPD and PMS and then in EAF. So EAF should have the same information as PMS. But then between these systems and XMPD, there is a difference because the granularity is different as well. So I would recommend you to have a look at Chapter 7 and also at PMS to see how the products are captured and if they are correctly captured based on the information in XMPD. And then if you have any doubt, like, hey, this product is wrong or something, then you can open a ticket and we can check.
Thank you. What will happen of MAH will not do? What will happen of MAH that we will not do data enrichment with deadline for this year?
Well, we will not go door by door asking them to do it. There is a requirement from the ESMP colleagues to provide this information because, there is a requirement from them to be able to start doing analysis on the data for manufacturers, for pack sizes, etc. And in case there is a crisis, we need to have this information for the critical products. In principle, nothing is going to happen, but we will be actually checking like products that are not enriched and they belong to this the list of critical medicines. And if needed, we will be contacting the MA holders and asking them to please enrich this information. Now, is there any legal action? That might be a question maybe for the S&P colleagues, if there is any legal requirement or anything that can be can happen to MA holders. I doubt it, but there is a requirement to have this information.
Maybe in addition to what Marcos mentioned is that if there is any event of a crisis, we will require you to submit information in a much stricter timeline. So I think the S&P colleagues said 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken, 14 days. So if you have a large portfolio, that might be a problem.
Thank you, colleagues. Deadline end of 2025 for the PMS enrichment to the list critical medicines affected products is still in place. Do you plan to postpone it if no much enrichment is detected?
So there are internal discussions happening around this topic, and I think there will be an update in September. There is this meeting between EMA, NCAs, and the industry representatives. ESMP colleagues will be there, PMS colleagues will also be there. So there are discussions around this topic. So I would recommend you to keep an eye on those discussions. But if there is any change, we will for sure update and send the communications to the trade associations and the users. But yeah, we are discussing this topic internally because we have received a lot of feedback already from industry on this matter.
Thank you. Is it very hard to understand Veronica when she answers the question? She speaks. I think Veronica, your microphone is not working very well. It's not clear.
Actually, I'm sick. So
Okay.
Sorry, colleagues.
I'm doing my best today. But okay.
Chapter 2 says still that MA number, authority and date efficacy shall be provided if manufacturer is involved in bulk sterilization of API. When Chapter 2 will be updated, the other time EMA says this part will be reviewed. Data not mandatory.
Yeah, so we are working on aligning this document like Chapter 2 and Chapter 3 because we know there are some discrepancies. So we are actually working on this. I think we have updated some of those fields in Chapter 2 already, but we will have a look to make sure that there is no discrepancy between all the documents.
Thank you. Could you please tell us if and when the update of Chapter 2 and 3 of the IGMP guideline will be released?
So hopefully by the end of this quarter for sure, because we need to update Chapter 3 for this the high-level terms and give the proper list and hopefully have the final version of this chapter and also align the Chapter 2 for these discrepancies on the conformance and some discrepancies that we have identified between Chapter 2 and 3. So hopefully by the end of the quarter we will have it. We are going on holidays now in August. I think we deserve the holidays. So after we are back, we will be updating the documents and release this information.
Thank you. Could you please confirm whether MAH should defer non-urgent XUMPD submission during the temporary product UI outage? If submission made now will be processed correctly once the system is restored?
So the answer is absolutely not. You still need to provide and update your, maintain your data in XBMPD, even if PMS is stopped or is not working or whatever, you need to submit still your data to XCMPD. There are a lot of systems consuming data from XCMPD, and we need to have the updated information. Then now we are doing some data fixes in PMS and in the product UI. So that's why in the product UI, you might not be able to see like ingredients and things like that because we are fixing some data. As soon as all this data is fixed, we will, there is a queue with all the XCB PRMs and the submissions to XCBMPD that we have received, and they will be processed as they arrive. So yeah, keep submitting your data to XCMPD, and then those messages and those updates will be synchronized with PMS and with the product UI.
Thank you. In Power BI dynamic reports, pre-filled pen is mentioned as pack size. However, in PMS PUI pen is mentioned. Could you please explain the reason behind this difference as in unit of presentation list only pen is mentioned?
Can you maybe open a ticket for the product UI team so we can have a look? If you can give us the PMS ID, then we can check this discrepancy.
I think there is a problem with the mismatching with the in the back end of the system, because if it points to another list, that's not correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to raise it to the PUI team. So please
Yeah.
send us a ticket.
Thank you. When is the issue of missing entries in PMS PUI related to specific authorized those forms expected to be fixed?
So either this week or next week, because we are doing the tests in the UAT environment and everything is working as expected. So we just need to deploy it into production. But we will let you know as soon as this is done. We will send the communication to all the users on the product UI, so they can have a look at these missing products. Yeah, it should be this week or next week.
Thank you. How is the entry of missing data going to be handled for CAPS, since it is not possible to manually enter data for CAPS to PLM?
Well, that is because for CAPS, for the moment, there shouldn't be missing data because we have data from Siamet, we have data from XCBMPD, and then manufacturers and pack size is also coming from Siamet, which is the data that we are requiring for non-CAPS, because we don't have this data in XCBMPD. So for CAPS, we shouldn't have this missing data. Now, both CAPS and NAPS still have missing data, like the storage conditions, the devices, the manufactured items, things like that. That will happen in the future. We don't know yet when. If this will be, we will open at the same time all the missing fields for CAPS and for non-CAPS. If it will be done through variations, we are still discussing and planning how to do that. But for CAPS, you shouldn't have any missing data. If you have missing data, like a manufacturer is missing, then as explained in different guidances, you need to open a ticket saying, hey, I got this manufacturer approved with this variation in this date, and it's not in PMS. Why is this happening? And then we will check Siamet and amend the data if needed. But for the rest of the missing fields, like devices and things like that, that will be done in the future. Also, because for non-caps, you can edit a product, a non-cap, but this data you cannot edit. You cannot change this information. So it also will be missing for non-caps. So I hope that clarifies a bit the situation.
Thank you. Is the confidentiality indicator fixed to an MBO as a whole, or can it be set individually for each manufacturer assigned to that role?
So the confidentiality indicator is fixed to an MBO.
It's not really clear.
Yeah.
I think so, colleagues. In PUI, users as registered can select the value, the confidentiality indicator value, to the specific operation type. Now, what we have been released, as you can see already in production, there is a specific term that is considered publicly available. So this is the manufacturer responsible for batch certification. And if you see, this is by default considered public. You can still change it, but by default, we made it public. Now, as part of the just finished PUI UAT, just finished last Friday, we have collected the feedback, and we will be releasing in production ideally at the end of this quarter. We need to test it first internally. The possibility to have all the other operation type, the confidentiality indicator by default set as confidential. You can still change it. You will be able to change it anyway. But I don't know if this is referring to that request that we have received. If not, maybe you can submit another comment question and you can clarify further. And sorry, Greta, by the way, referring to the role, there is, yes, another element. So we have if you notice, we have the qualified industry role and the regular industry role. So depending on the type of role that you have, you can access specific operation type. The qualifier is the highest level possible of privileges, so you can access everything, while the regular user can only see the public operation type. This is also something that maybe you want to be reminded on. I'm done. Greta, please. Sorry.
Thank you. Can we perform changes through PMS, or should all changes be through XCMDD until it's decommissioned?
Yeah. So XCMPD and the process and all the business requirements still remain the same. We have not changed anything from this process. So if you have a variation for an indication, you need to go to XCMPD and update it. If you have a new pack size, you need to submit it through XCMPD. If you have a change on the name, you need to go to XCMPD. Only if you have a change on a manufacturer and you have already submitted this information, then you need to go to PMS because this data is not in XCMPD. But PMS is only meant you can only use PMS to submit manufacturers and the structured data of a pack size, like saying this is 5 tablets or 3 vials. Anything else should go through XCMPD as you have been doing until now. There is no change on this process.
Thank you. Some codes are not included in the ref RMS list, like the one written, and which is not in the list ATC classification system human, like stated in the fire message. It's in the list for national classification. Why?
This is a question for RMS. I'll take it on board and I'll clarify with RMS. So the ATC code usually is always up to date, and I know they just launched the update. But I can check the specific code because I don't really have access at the moment to the RMS system. And I will also cross-check the national classification. So we will reply in bright.
Yeah, also we need to check if that is really an ATC code.
Exactly, maybe it's for the national classification.
Because if it's not an ATC code, it's a code that has been, added. I mean, it's a national code, then we are not gonna add it on the. Yeah, so for example, this code that you have here is not an WHO code. If you go to the WHO webpage, you can look for ATC codes, and this is not a a code that is approved by ATC, the WHO. So that's why we have it in the national classification list, because it's a national ATC code. Some agencies are giving like national ATC codes, and that's why we have created this national list. And this specific one, as it's not a WHO code, it's created in the national classification list.
Yeah, you're right. It's also mapped to XCMPD.
Yeah. So in the ATC classification system, these are only codes from WHO. If your product has an ATC code that is assigned by your NCA, or national NCA, then you will not have this in the ATC classification system, because it's not an approved one by WHO. So it is correct the way it is.
Thank you. So the high-level terms would be reintroduced for all products, and it's upon the MAHs to decide whether to reconsider the product legacy or not, right?
Yeah, so if you have a product, and for this product you have all the information on which are the manufacturers, which are the specific business operations that they do in the most granular way, as you are submitting right now in the EAF, then you can say, okay, I have all the information, I have the most granular information, I will provide this to PMS. Now, if you have another product that was approved years ago, and you only have like the high level terms tracked in your system or in your documents, and you are not able to provide the most granular information, then you just you can just put the high level terms in PMS. Obviously, if we see products that were authorized in 2024 or 2025 with the high level terms, that is not correct, because we know that in the EAF you are already providing the most granular ones. So yeah, it's a bit up to the applicant and what is the information that is available for each product.
Thank you. What is your advice when the MBOs as serious manufacturers does no longer exist, was never available in OMS, and therefore is not possible to add to OMS? PMS.
That's a good question. Like, what we are asking now is to provide approved and authorized marketing authorization, approved and authorized manufacturers and MBOs. That means that if for a product at a given point in time you had a, a business operation and it was approved, and then 2 years ago it was deleted, you don't need to provide this information right now to PMS. Like, your first submission should only contain the approved manufacturers, that the ones that are currently authorized. So I would expect that you don't have, like, this one is no longer authorized, you don't need to submit it to PMS right now. Okay. Then once you have submitted all the authorized manufacturers and MBOs, if next week or next month you are sending a variation to remove this manufacturer or a specific MBO, once it's approved, you need to go to PMS and add the end date for this specific business operation. But in this case, I would expect that this manufacturer is not longer authorized, because if it's the manufacturer doesn't exist anymore, that means that is you have already withdrawn or removed it from your dossier. Okay, so there is no need to submit this information, only the authorized ones.
Thank you. Also, we have just launched the survey to collect your feedback, and it would be very useful to have your feedback on the session so that we can collect all the evidence and insights and ensure that all the Q&As are always better each time. Thank you. Structured data for manufacturers and pack submission for critical medicine products to be completed by 2025. Is only chapter 3 to be referred, or chapter 2 is also related and to be considered or referred? Please, can you clarify?
So I think you need to read both chapters in combination. Like chapter 2 explains what each field means and which are the different lists to be used, etc. And then chapter 3 is a bit more with examples and why you need to submit this information and how. So you need to refer both chapters at the same time.
Thank you. According to what has been stated during the last Q&A session, could you please tell us when the data of certificate will be conditional?
Veronica, do you have any update on this?
No, I think it's the effective date or the certificate number. So we are reviewing the chapter 2, and we are updating this to reflect it correctly, the information as Marcos mentioned in chapter 3. But I need to check because honestly, I don't remember this one. Let me take it. We will come back to you, Brian.
Yes, thank you. Can EMA align chapter 2 mandatory and chapter 3 for the moment the quantity operator is not required about third pack size class quantity operator conformance? When will this be required?
Sorry,
Yeah,
I was sharing.
yes.
Yeah, please, Mark.
I was going to say that we need to review these discrepancies, as we have said already on the before between chapter 2 and 3.
Thank you. As most of duplicate PMS IDs issues is still present in PMS PUI, how are we supposed to reach the pack size data? Do we need to reach the pack size data individually in each duplicate ID concerning to each medicinal product?
No, my proposal would be not to enrich with these duplicates. So we are working this quarter on trying to resolve this problem with the duplicates. So I would recommend you to wait until we have the correct, let's say, number of products, and we don't have those duplicates to start submitting the information on the pack sizes.
Thank you. We can take the last question. MBO related to the CAP MP, the CRO manufacturer is not available in current information in PMS. The CRO MBO were added later in scope of PMS. Could you clarify why are not included in the MP?
Yeah, this is because Sciamed is not capturing this data for CAPs. Some of the products, legacy products, or products that were authorized some time ago, they capture these CROs, but new products, for some reason, the Sciamed colleagues were not capturing this information. So we are also having discussions with them how they are going to include this information in Sciamed, if they will. And yeah, because this information should be captured because this is also a requirement for non-CAPs. So the reason is just because it's not captured in Sciamed, and we are discussing with them how to add this information to have the same requirement as the non-CAPs.
Thank you.
Greta, can I just share an update regarding the previous question on when the data for the certificate will be made in production updated? So this is expected by the end of this quarter. We have scheduled the deployment and the testing, so then we should be able to deliver on time for the bulk update.
Okay, then colleagues, thank you very much for attending this session. If you are going on holidays, enjoy. I'm sure you deserve it. And see you in the next Q&A, which is by the end of August, I think. So thank you very much and see you.